Here we go. This is our first time in the car experiencing it. So right now it's basically driving on its own.
So we're out here testing for the very first time the full self-driving V12 version 3.3 that they have just now massively rolled out to Canada and the United States, and we're experimenting with it right now for the very first time here just outside of Toronto, in a smaller town, Oakville. Burlington is where we're going, and we're gonna see how the system handles the roads here in Canada. We've never experienced the full self-driving where it's stopping, signaling. We just use the basic autopilot. Okay, we're at a stop sign here, and it's very, very smartly predicted that we were there first.
You know what I noticed so far, Luke? Sorry to interrupt. You know what what I noticed? Once it sees that it can go, it goes right.
It
doesn't hesitate, and it goes right to the speed limit.
Something like V12, and then
It avoided the rabbit.
Avoided some roadkill there. It was very kind of centered in the lane, so it didn't really have any issues with getting around that.
Meters, turn left onto a little road east.
Yeah. So we were saying the model. You have a 2022.
I believe it's a 22 model. Yes.
Okay, so it's the rear wheel drive 2022 Model 3. Okay, so we got a little bit of obstruction on the road there, and with cars turning off of one of the major roads here, and it handled that pretty nicely. It moved over, and even when we needed to get into the far left lane there to make our turn, it also handled the turn very well. I've seen a couple of videos of some people tire scraping on some tight turns, and didn't have any issues with that. Handling the speed very well, and coming up to
an orange yellow light,
and handled the stop no problem. Regen is working, and all very good. So my first thoughts out the gate is that it's pretty quick. Like
it drives faster than I do.
Yeah, the reaction is very fast. I think. I think it's because it's on auto. It's not in chill mode. But I would say it's pretty relative to how people would kind of expect you to almost drive. So coming off the green here, it's actually not too bad. And the intersection here is it kind of weaves a little bit, and we have this guy here coming pretty close to our car.
Now keep right to take 4 drive.
Okay, so we're supposed to go right here, and it's finally coming to realize, and we got someone coming up behind us here that's a little bit aggressive, letting us in.
So at that point, the car should have been more aggressive.
Yeah, it should. The car, I think it was a little confused because it's a very wide bike lane there, that intersection, so it wasn't sure when the lane was turning, I believe, and that was kind of the confusion, but it still handled it okay.
Safe.
Still safely.
Car put the blinkers on.
Yep. It indicated
it could have gone to the right lane quicker.
Yes.
However, it did track the car that was already in the right lane behind us.
Yes.
To make sure that it could advance.
Exactly.
So it
didn't force its way into the lane. It made sure it was safe because it saw a car coming in behind us. And now we just got onto the merging lane onto the highway here pretty smoothly. In terms of speed, could be accelerating a little faster right now because we are getting onto the highway.
It's going by the speed limit on the lane.
Yeah, according to the speed limit, but and we do have some oncoming traffic, so we're gonna see how it handles here. And we're coming up to the end of the merge here, so we're gonna see what it does. We're not gonna disengage until we have to. Okay, now it's picking up on its own.
That was good.
Yeah,
it took a little
late,
while, but it noticed that.
But it did notice that the lane is ending, and accelerated up to the speed pretty fast. Now we're getting onto another part of the merge onto the highway here. It's merge onto a merge here, so it's a little bit different than a standard merge, and we're coming up to another lane that's ending. A little faster with the indicating on this one for sure. I think it saw the merging sign a little faster on this one. And we're also in a lane now where we're gonna have to get over again. So now it's okay. It asks us to disengage. We're not sure see what happens.
Let's see.
So, taking us out of the parking lot here, trying to figure out what's going on. It kind of a little bit of hesitation coming out of the parking lot, and we're gonna see where it takes us here. So it's kind of undecided, and yeah, it's figuring it out. It's actually pretty good. It's a little different.
I mean, I don't even know how to get out this parking lot.
It's kind of figuring out. This is a weird parking lot because it's got to take us over here to the left now to get out of here, and it's gonna figure that out. See, it's going. It could be a little faster because this is a blind spot, so it is a little dangerous. So we are seeing a little struggle here because this is a very odd parking lot situation. Lane to a 3-lane intersection that we're going to be jumping into. So let's see if it goes right into the second lane like it's supposed to, or if it's going to hop over into the third right lane, which it technically shouldn't, but it will, and it went right through the yellow red, no problems, which it should have in my opinion. So yeah, it handled the lane perfectly, signaled over perfectly to the right because it knows we've got to get over again. And beautiful, another signal, continuing signal like you're supposed to, into the merging lane of the highway again. Here we go. We're gonna try to keep our hands on the wheels so we don't
back in the highway
disengage
again.
And
we're back on the road again.
Yeah, back on the road again. We're heading into our next adventure to Burlington here. So let's see how it gets on the highway again. This is a more standard, a little bit of an easier merging lane in my opinion. It's longer, one merging lane right onto the right hand side of the highway, and we just had someone come over on the right. Nice early signal when it should be because it's still only a 200 meter, 300 meter merging lane.
Nice.
Merging beautifully behind this car, leaving plenty of space behind, and following traffic just perfectly.
We will say that we're obeying all traffic
absolutely
speed.
Yep.
So it's basically going at 100 kilometers, which is what's allowed here in the highway.
And let's see if it actually moves us over any lanes or anything to maybe advance us further.
And it is.
See, it's almost like it's listening to us because we do have a couple of kilometers to go over on the highway, and we definitely could be moving faster. So let's see if it gets over maybe into the HOV lane, even if it's smart enough to figure that one out, because we can use that. We do have an HOV lane here on the part of the QEW going east and westbound into Niagara and then into Toronto, and
I'm thinking it might just go by the speed.
Just stay,
Since it's fast enough, it might stay.
See, well,
but it is going.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You did see the new part of the software on when you turn. Someone's coming past you, it sends up a red indicator on your screen to let you know that someone's in your blind spot. And here we go. We're going to see if it gets over into the left again, or if it stays here and passes. We are in the hammer lane, so it should be moving a lot faster in my opinion. So yeah, it is going to get over into the HOV lane because it's technically the fastest and safest lane.
It does. There we go.
Made it over from the slowest lane all the way over, and got into it perfectly fine.
I'm gonna just.
We're just gonna increase the speed limit here because we have it set at a kind of to obey the limits and things. I'm not sure if we have the auto cruise set on to where that actually is a part of the software here that just allows you to. It just follows the speed of traffic. Whether it's faster or slower,
it's moving.
It'll actually adapt without you having to move up or down the limit. Because that has been a known issue with the previous V11 software, is that it tends to lag behind with getting up to speed sometimes. And here in the GTA, people like to drive pretty aggressively, especially during the busy hours. And so now it's going to try to get, it saw someone was getting, it wanted to get over out of this HOV lane, and it saw someone behind us wanted to also get out. They got out behind us faster. It took off the signal, let that person pass, and then it proceeded to signal and then got over safely, just like it should have. And like I was saying, people like to drive pretty aggressively and fast, and if you're not moving fast, they'll tend to signal and get in front or behind you. So
so
handled
far,
it pretty good.
I feel quite comfortable.
Yeah,
Like I
100% feels very safe. And since we've only been used to the autopilot software, which is a lot more basic. It doesn't follow any rules of the road in terms of stop signs and lights. Doesn't have any of that feature like the full self-driving beta version did before on V11. This is the full capabilities of the software, so it's actually follows and obeys the rules, and it's a lot different from the autopilot software, which is honestly a blessing of its own just to have like as a free feature in the Tesla. Like that, in my opinion alone, is a huge production value, like a value to their vehicles that, you know, a lot of other vehicles still aren't even comparable in terms of what they can do with that, right? So very impressed so far for sure. Yeah, little things I think that they're gonna bug out pretty fast. How fast they've already been rolling out and fixing things, you know. So the big difference with this software, the V12 version that we're running now and the previous V11 software, was that it's an end-to-end neural net learning system and software. So V11 was not like that. It learned off of code that it was fed and given. So this is based off of a very different learning structure, which is why it's the improvements have been very significant in terms of them being faster.
It's using AI.
Yeah, exactly.
To basically train.
Yeah. And you know, now that they've said that they're no longer compute constrained, they need all this extra road data that we're giving them now, and all these other Teslas now that have gotten the free trial that are going to roll out. And you know, here in the GTA, there is a lot of Teslas on the road, especially in, you know, the smaller, richer towns and cities. There's a pretty big adoption. Where we're from in Oakville, it's 1 in every 10 cars is a Tesla, I would say. Almost every time I go out, no matter what time, there is a Tesla that I see.
We're running software 3, I believe, right?
Yeah, so
we're using hardware 3.
I believe, yeah. So we are on a hardware 3 system, not the hardware 4, which is in the new models. It's wanting to get back into the HOV lane again, I guess, because of traffic. So it's handling traffic pretty good.
It's almost like a human. Like, yeah. It's looking around and see which lane is a little faster.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more creative in terms of getting in and out of lanes and figuring things out. It definitely feels more human-like in terms of its choices. Very much seem like it's learning from the environment around it. There's a lot of Teslas on the road here, and I wonder how many of them are trying this out right now, or even...
This was our first day, April Fool's Day.
Yeah, April Fool's, right? Are we running the software? Who knows? So yeah, it's very interesting to have it drive us around here right now. And
we basically get an email from Tesla.
Yeah, it was yesterday in the evening.
Last night.
Yeah, we were literally just wrapping up our Easter celebrations, and sure enough, Joe said, "Hey, you know, looks like Tesla rolled out the email," and I posted it there on X to let people know, and here we are today, testing it out.
We're taking a little trip basically from Oakville to Burlington. Probably, 40 kilometers each way type of thing?
Less than that, about 25 kilometers. So we're getting to the end of the HOV lane here, and it wants to get over, and it's a little bit of a struggle here because people didn't let us in, and it's going to continue on here, and we'll see what happens, how it's going to take us off the highway here. It'll be funny.
Yeah, we're kind of letting it roll.
Yeah,
we're not
we haven't trying to disengage unless we have to.
Yeah.
And so what I've noticed already with comparing the V12 here software, the full self-driving, to the autopilot that we're used to driving, and when I engage it and use it on the highway, and we're coming up to maybe slow or fast stops, if you're not used to the software, it definitely feels like, oh my god, is it gonna stop?
It's almost too aggressive.
Yes,
yeah.
But this
the autopilot is.
This one already, I find it sees traffic is slowing ahead, and it's already slowing down much further in advance. It's giving much of a smoother transition to a halt. And here we go. We're gonna have to get off the highway pretty soon, and we're gonna see how it gets us out of this HOV lane here, because there's only, so now it's ending the HOV lane and it's turning into a 4-lane highway that splits into 2 different parts of the highway, of the QEW and the 403. So we're gonna see where it takes us here, if it gets us out of this lane, and what happens.
It might take us to another cutoff.
Yeah, depending on maybe what it decides. We're gonna see what
we're gonna let it decide.
So yeah, it's indicating to see when it can get over. It's pretty tight, very busy over here, so we're gonna see.
It looks like it had an opportunity there, but it didn't take it.
Yeah, and it could have if we slowed down. So it's gonna take it here now instead. It seems like it's gonna try to put a signal on and maybe get over. Yeah, you can do it. See, signaling, getting over, making sure, because a lot of people turn into this lane here on from the left, and yeah, this is where the highway gets very congested and very hairy. You got a merging lane on the far right of us, and then you have, like I said, the highway splitting into 2 different parts, where a lot of people get very confused. And yeah, we're gonna see how it.
But it did it.
If it's gonna let this other Tesla in front of us here, let's see. Yeah, it's part of the crew, so it's Tesla Army in and everyone else out. All right, so it's handling this part of the highway pretty good. It's giving plenty of space.
I mean, it's busy. It's busy. Yeah. It's a busy highway.
It's giving plenty of space.
1, 2, 3, 4 lanes.
It's a 4-lane part of the highway here, like I said, and it's going to turn into a 2-laner and split off. And I think we're going to have to. I think it wants to get off here, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. Yep. So it's going to signal. It sees that there's a spot. It's kind of guy's kind of a little aggressive, and the car is also pushing that way. It's making its way over, and we're gonna so yeah, that was I think it handled it actually pretty good, with that part of the highway coming all the way over from the far left all the way over to the far right.
In 200 meters,
got over here pretty safely. There's a couple of people didn't really want to let in, and also there's a couple of instances where it had the chance to get over, but was a little hesitant because of all the traffic and just not sure of the speed of the other cars coming at it, I think. But it ended up putting a signal on and just slowly easing in.
I must say that I haven't feel like threatened.
No, not at all.
No,
yeah, I feel very comfortable with it driving me around. Okay, so it just prompted us again we got disengaged again here, unfortunately, so we're gonna have to see.
Even though my hands are on the wheel. I mean, it's definitely, it's being very cautious in terms of the driver paying attention to the road.
Yeah. I was really hoping that it would get us into the parking lot here, because I wanted to see the auto park feature. But, well, don't worry. We're going to do lots of tests throughout this month here. I'm planning on trying to use it as often as what Joe's going to let me. Kind of take people around and see what they think. We're going to, give it the good old...
In 200 meters, your destination will be right.
See if it gets the mom approval, That's the ultimate. I think that really is the ultimate test there, is when you can take mom or grandma into the car and
and they feel safe.
Kind of just
they don't even realize
not tell them that the car's driving itself, and just let the car drive and see what they, you know, if they figure it out that the car's driving itself, or if we tell them when we get to our destination that the car drove.
I think it's like I almost have to be looking at the screen to make sure that it's not telling me. But you know what I also notice from autopilot gives you a little more leeway. And full self-driving seems to be very sensitive. Like as long as you don't give it a tug right at that moment, it throws you off. I mean, I can see why, because of the mass, basically, they deployed, you know, it's like pretty well everybody in Canada and the US that has a Tesla can use this software for free for a month.
That's right.
So I think Tesla's just being extra careful
to make sure that people
are attentive.
Yeah, exactly.